Aloha again, beautiful souls. It's Karina, and I'm coming to you here from Hawaii. And I just wanted to make this video today to talk about RTT, or rapid transformational, and in this case it's hypnotherapy. So I guess it would be RTN, not RTT. But anyway, it is another tool I guess I'm using in my treatment of my BDD, or body dysmorphia. So I also want to give you an update of my 1 month doctor's appointment and let you know how that went. And then we'll talk about what RTT I've added in my routine and what I think it's doing for me and how I think it's working. But first, enjoy some pictures of Hawaii, my beautiful home. And I would like to thank Orange Juice, the band. They're a South Florida band, and they're actually one of the girls in the band, women, I guess, young women in the band, is a friend of, is my best friend's daughter. So they made this little intro piece for me for free. So I thank them. And I will now show you some great pictures of the island here on the Big Island. And we'll be right back to talk about BDD treatment using RTT, it's like alphabet, and also my first month checkup with my psychologist to see an update. And that was very informative. So stay tuned for that. Please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to be notified for future videos, like or comment as you wish to learn more about life in Hawaii. Mahalo! All right, so we're back. So I apologize. This is really not well planned, but I felt the calling to make it. So I wanted to go ahead and get it out there. We'll first talk about the follow-up appointment. And that was on, and if you want to skip ahead to talk about the rapid transformational therapy, then I will put a timestamp in there. Okay, I want to make sure. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes, but I wanted to make sure that, I could get both things in, the update, 1 month with the doctor, and the RTT. So first, we'll talk about the appointment with my therapist, and that was actually on September 1st, and I haven't put out a video since then. I've been just doing different things. It just seems like I've been making more jewelry, and I was sick for a little bit there, and it took me about a week after being sick to get back into the routine of things. It wasn't COVID, it was just a cold, but I haven't been any kind of cold in so long that it was just unusual, the break of the routine. So anyway, that's what delayed this appointment. But I have my notes here, and I wanted to start off, when the appointment started off, he wanted an update of how I had been doing. And it's funny because the day before the appointment, I actually had a little bit of a rough day that day. It was weird. I'm an empath. I know I've mentioned that before. So I pick up my particular clair, I guess, is clairsentience. I think that's what it is, the clair feeling. And, being the empath, that is, I guess, part of it. But I feel, in this case, I feel the emotions of others. So there was a little issue with my daughter that morning, and she got upset, and she was, in tears. And I guess I picked up on that. It was something because of a little discussion we were having. And I realized, it was a miscommunication. But in the vehicle riding, we went out for errands. I realized I was getting sad and starting, if you don't know that, depression and different mental disorders create, I guess, suicidal ideologies. And if you've watched my prior videos, you'll know that I tried to commit suicide in 2015. But sorry, I have to look on my tattoo for the date. It's, the years. I should remember that. But the years get lost, the actual number. More important things are in my brain. So, but anyway, I had that feeling in the vehicle, a suicidal thought, like, started getting really sad and then everything got down. And I realized now that I was picking up her emotions. It wasn't mine, but that's what happens. I have to learn when emotions aren't mine. So anyway, I had this bad day, and I had that thought of, things would be better off if I weren't alive, and this would be so much easier. And then I immediately stopped myself. And I think that's what all this, meditation with the BDD, because then that could have led into something like a conversation with myself in my head where I would say, oh, you're worthless, and go into all this stuff. And that's because of this. And, and I could just let things spiral out of control then from that. So I stopped that. I was aware of that thought. I made a promise to myself that when those thoughts came up, that I'm going to stop them and address them. So I addressed it in my mind. I started thinking, and I came to the realization, all these things that I'm telling you, this is the empathy. It is not me. It's not what I'm feeling. And then I started thinking about what caused our argument, and I was able to talk to her. And we talked it out afterwards. But the thing was that like I said, was that I had that feeling, and I hadn't had that suicidal ideology, that thought of not being alive in the longest time. So it was perfect. It occurred the day before the doctor's appointment. So it was fresh in my mind to talk to it about with the doctor. And long story short, I think the reason is that I hadn't been doing my meditation because I was sick. I broke off from my routine. And so I believe that put my interior, my mental self, for a while, it had been a few days, for a while, at a vulnerability to allow some thoughts to come in. So that showed me how important meditation was. And it brought up a question for my doctor as well. So I talked to him about that. But a lot of times I realize what it is in myself. That's a doctor for me is more like someone that I can talk to. And then as we're having the conversation and talking, I realize a lot of things as well. My psychologist, whatever he asks, I really use that time as conversation. That's why I love the psychologist here. It's like a lot of my own talking and explaining what I want to talk, not asking questions. But that's because I'm very proactive in my medical history. So, and I encourage you to do that if you're dealing with the BDD. Be proactive. Know your disease or disorder. I'll call it disorder. Know your disorder, and be aware what triggers might be, things, definition, everything about it, the definition, what it means, what it is for you, what the different treatments are, and be, how you fit in all that, so that you can talk with your physician about that, or talk with a professional. So I talked to him about that and said that I realized that, I stopped doing the meditation. It like triggered this, and I wanted to know how long would I keep having these triggered thoughts. And so first of all, he said that, normally when they treat a mental health disorder, they want 3 to 6 months of no symptoms to feel like that person is over or has gotten past the disorder or the mental health issue and gotten to the other side of it. So 3 to 6 months. So I was like, okay, that gave me, I would know. Now I know that was the last time I had those type of thoughts. That was September. Actually, it was the last day of August 31st. So I know that I could know 3 to 6 months from now, no symptoms of the suicidal thought or no symptoms with the BDD or, thoughts of, so I'm not at that yet because I'm not suffering from any looking. It's so funny because I'm not looking at myself and seeing anything, but I still am kind of critical. I don't know. So I guess, yeah, but I'm fighting it and I'm accepting myself more, my body more. And so it's still, like I said, as I think about it, I was like, wow, yeah, I guess I am kind of critical to myself, but it wasn't like before. Oh my God, it was obsessive before. Now I'm kind of looking in the mirror or whatever at my body nude, and I will say, maybe think one thing, but then it's like immediately I change my conversation to positive things about myself. So that's huge. And that's really been a key into my healing. And I think my getting over, I'm using my mind to control my thoughts, really being aware of them, what my thoughts are, and not, wanting to change the bad thoughts and wanting to change it into something positive. But so that was one thing he said, 3 to 6 months. The next item we discussed was that I wanted to know that the same thing about, why is it that I reverted so quickly when I stopped meditating? Am I going to have to meditate for the rest of my life? And that kind of went with the 3 to 6 months question in its answer. But he said that right now, he's like, if a doctor was treating someone with high blood pressure, they would give them certain medication, or they would have to eat certain things or do certain activities or not do certain activities, but definitely do some things to help control it. And he's like, whatever they use, like, you're not taking medication. So for someone with high blood pressure, it could be something that they're eating or drinking, that helps bring it down, or, low blood pressure, bring it up. So things like that, you would do to help that. And so he's like, the meditation is your medicine. Think of the meditation as your medicine, something you're doing to help or treat this body dysmorphia. And I was like, oh, okay, that really makes sense, because I do not want to go on any kind of synthetic drug, and I want to keep it natural. So that made sense to me, that the meditation is my medication, and I get that. I can understand that. That was kind of it for the appointment. We made another appointment for September 29th, and I also told him I knew that I needed to start looking at my empathy and being an empath, and how to learn how to control that, what I pick up from other people. But I knew that would come second to the body dysmorphia, because once I get through this body dysmorphia, see, I already talk about it in past tense, once I got through this. But I can then work on some things to strengthen my empathy and, my being an empath, the skills that I possess, and, strengthen them, and also, learn some more protection. So anyway, that's it for the doctor's appointment. And there's actually something else besides the BDD in here, and I didn't introduce it, but I had also done some tapping, EFT. So another, it's another abbreviation. And God, right now, I can't even remember what EFT stands for. I just put it out of my mind. Wow, that's terrible. But anyway, EFT or tapping, and I don't know if I made a video on it. I don't think I did. Yes, I did. I made a video on tapping. So I'd mentioned that to him, and but how I want to update on that, how the tapping has worked for me is that I don't do it on like through someone else instructing me, or, by watching YouTube anymore. Uh, I actually do a version of it myself during sun gazing, where I do the same things, but I'm talking to myself, and going over just some daily things. So I'll make an update of how I use tapping then in another video, how I've changed it to work for me. But let's talk about this rapid. Now I'm done with the doctor's appointment. Let's talk about the rapid transformational therapy. And that really is, I just started that. I watched one the other day, and I will put in the comments or the notes. Marisa Peer is who I used, and she just started coming up, and I know that I'm getting, a lot of the Mind Valley ads, because I do just their free 1-day course thing that's for free. So I get a lot of the ads come up on my YouTube. So I watch a lot of the free stuff, and I learn. So I guess I was seeing her coming up on my feed, and that's why, because I think it's a combination, or maybe because I started doing tapping and watching Jen Partridge, and the self-help is connected. But anyway, I did one of her hypnotherapy sessions on YouTube, and wasn't sure if I did it right the first time, and then watched this Mind Valley today, and now I realize what I did wrong. But let's talk about the BTT, because I'm so a couple of things it says is just so helpful for the BDT, this RTT. It really is, because it is talking about, if we change our mindset, it's all up to us, and that it's the beliefs you tell yourself that empower you or disempower you. So it was all about this like self-talk, and I realized, oh my gosh, that's really what is in the dysmorphia. And if you have a body image problem, what's happening is when you look in the mirror, you're talking to yourself and you're saying bad things to yourself. And this whole little course I was watching today talked about all these things that it just made me so aware, oh my gosh, this is what I've been doing to an extent. And even though I've been fighting so hard to change it, I'm still, what it was, they said the rule was your mind cannot hold two conflicting beliefs. And that's what was happening. It's like, here I am telling myself all these things like, oh, I love you and you're worthy and lovable. And then I'm looking in the mirror sometimes and being like, you look so old. I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing. So I'm breaking in healing and fast, rapid. This is what I watched this for. It's rapid transformational hypnotherapy or therapy. I wanted rapid because that means quick. You can get this done fast. I was like, oh my gosh, here's this rapid thing I want, and all this I'm trying to do to get through this BDD. And I am breaking rule number 1. I have two conflicting beliefs. I have this goal in my mind, but then I'm saying some other things that aren't part of it, and I have to stop that 100%. So I realize that now. And so you stop it by speaking about what you want in the present tense and talking about that. And it's like affirmations to yourself, but talking to yourself and telling you that. And, I do that in my journal, but really I'm going to start saying it more out loud, saying it loud to myself. So, and don't speak about what I don't want. Don't speak about what I don't want. So that was one rule that they talked about in this, how your mind works, because that's really what the rapid transformational therapy does. It changes your thinking quickly. And, you have the power to do that. We totally have the power to do that. Sometimes we need to be hypnotized because it helps us open our mind, or it opens our mind to allow that to happen. But we're always capable of this. If you can do it under hypnosis, you can do it consciously. We just have to be stronger. And, that's another thing I talked about, our subconscious, this rapid transformational therapy. RTT deals with the subconscious mind too. And the subconscious mind really is, it speaks to the subconscious mind because it's our subconscious mind is our meaning making machine. That's what they used, meaning making machine. And unfortunate is things we've heard since childhood still affects our life. Okay, if we haven't dealt with them, I guess it can in cases. So I was like, wow, this, it's going to stop some of this repetition. That's their goal, is to stop the repetition. And, really, I realized, they kept repeating how powerful our beliefs are, how powerful our beliefs are. And this, the subconscious mind being the feeling mind, and it lives in present tense. So it'll run you if you don't run it. And whoa, that hit home, because that's true. Your mind, there's sayings, your mind gets carried away. Don't let your mind get carried away, because it happens. So, and I think that's happening to many people on a more consistent basis for all different reasons, not just a pandemic and a virus that's being spread worldwide, but also social media and, responses from people. So we end up, oh my gosh, we're going to be ending up letting our mind run us if we don't get control of our minds. Okay, so yeah, the dialogue. And, that's what I really was like, whew, this goes along with what I was talking about, this inner dialogue. So let's go to rule number 2. So rule number 1 was your mind cannot hold 2 conflicting beliefs. So that means you're messing with your mind. You've got to get 1. 2, your mind wants to stay with what's familiar and avoid the unfamiliar. It's routine. And my gosh, that hit home too, because I worked well with routine. So I'm a very routine oriented person. It helps my focus. So I stay on a routine, or I try to stay on a routine. That helps me. That's how I live best. And I guess that these words had become familiar to me and become routine. And my body or head wants to stay with what's familiar. So I was like, okay, you have to make what's unfamiliar familiar then, and make the familiar unfamiliar. That's what they said. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. So I have to start more praise, make praise familiar to you, not by only praising other people, but by praising yourself. And I think I've talked about this so often when I started this journey with the body dysmorphia, that be kind in your, be loving and kind and generous in your thoughts, your words, your actions, and your deeds. And then I realized what has to hit home and has to go to yourself. So that's 2 in this rule is, your mind, you want to praise yourself. Make praise familiar. So make new habits familiar by repeating them to yourself that you love and want it, and write it. Okay, also that, writing was huge. Write it in. So that's it. New habits, make them familiar. And a habit can be what you say to yourself. So I have to start saying more things to myself, which I have been in my daily affirmations, but I need to say them aloud. I write them already. And we'll go on to rule number 3. So you make your beliefs. So then your beliefs make you. Okay, so if that made sense, I was like, okay, you make your beliefs, then your beliefs make you. Once you form a belief, then it makes us. So, wow, if you form a bad belief on yourself, what are you doing to yourself? You're doing this to yourself. And you always have a choice to pick a better belief. Why not pick the best belief? Okay. We can write our own self-fulfilling prophecy. We can write what we want for our lives by saying it to ourselves and repeating. That's what I got out of that. That, our inner dialogue, what we say to ourselves. And they mentioned something, the Pygmalion effect, that happens when you prove people right. It says that, there's actually this study that was done that, people can accomplish things by proving proving yourself right. And I guess it's like proving someone else wrong, but I really see it as proving yourself right. So you have this motivation. So say it to yourself, start talking to yourself, this inner dialogue, what you want to be or what you want to accomplish. So then I'm going to rule number 4. And your beliefs form a blueprint that you're wired to meet all your life. And even if they're sabotaging you. So, wow. So now it's like your beliefs make you, and now they form a blueprint for your life, even if it's sabotage. So you got to change that. Okay, you got to change your blueprint, and that's what I decided to change my blueprint. All that takes is a decision that you want to. You get to the point where you want to. All right, we'll go on to rule number 5, which is the last rule they talked about. And it is, we act in a way that is consistent to how we define ourselves. Wow. So we act how we define ourselves. And if I was acting or defining myself a certain way, then I was acting that certain way. So I have to change my definition of myself. And they also said that every thought has a physical reaction and an emotional response in us. Every thought. So bad thoughts are going to have a bad emotional response. So watch your words, because they form your reality. And change your language, and you'll change how you feel. Wow. And start talking to yourself differently. Instead of saying, it's the end of the world, this is hell, just making it say, this is going to be very challenging, but I'm going to get through this. This issue with BDD, I'm going to be able to handle it and conquer it. This challenge of the pandemic and wearing masks or getting vaccinated and how businesses are closing is a challenge, but I'm going to get through. Instead of saying, these hard, just making it, change the words, because they form a different reality. You think of it as issues and challenges instead of, problems. Don't make it a problem. Reword that. And think great thoughts and think powerful thoughts. So really act in the way that we want to, how we define ourselves. And she talked about, oh my God, just several instances where she's given, especially women. It's funny, she used women on 2 of her stories, although she had other stories as well. But she talked about how one wasn't meeting someone or in a relationship and used one of her tapes and on, how to be, attracting or be attractive, and how she then met someone and they didn't lived in the same building all this time or whatever, or lift, they used it, elevator, and how it happened after she started doing did these sessions. And then another one was an artist, and she was like, I really want to study with you, but I don't have the money to go to your thing. And she sent her something about abundance and living in wealth. And whatever happened, the artist then contacted her later and said, after I listened to that, I started raising the price of my paintings and started making money and really started thinking about myself differently. And wow, I now may have the money. I made the money to go to this course of yours. So I was like, these sound great. And this is really something I'm going to do. I'm going to use this for my healing of my body. I'm going to look for some RTT sessions, because I know they're out there on YouTube for body image. I'm sure there has to be something. And look for something on that, or self-image, or I'm going to start with, because I already found one of self-love. So that's going to be my start with this Marisa Pierce. She has one on her site, but I'm going to use it for my body dysmorphia. That is my main goal right now, is to get through this and get this completely healed in me, and then work on other things. And it's been really working well. You know, I encourage you, you can do this. If you have, oh my gosh, if you're listening to this and you have the slightest issue with yourself, with your body, with your face, start using these techniques. They are working wonders for me. I made a decision. Make a decision. You are going to get through this and get over this and not ever have these issues and this bad self-talk. You can do it for anything. It doesn't just have to be the body dysmorphia. Any kind of issue you have, you can change it. So I encourage you to, but definitely I'm changing my body dysmorphia, so I know it works on that. So I know it works on body image. I'm using meditation. I'm using tapping. I'm using RTT. I'm using all these things that are available for free on the internet to change how I feel about myself, how I think about myself. And it is really incredible. It's incredible. I'm almost going to be brought to tears. How great things have been going. So these are tears of joy. You know, when someone says, oh my God, she's crying. These are tears of joy because I came from a place that there was times in my life that I never thought it was possible to change that in myself, but I have. So it's really incredible. And I encourage you to join me on this journey and help yourself. You help yourself. Take the chance, make the decision and change your life, transform your life, because you can do it. You can do it. And if you're suffering from something like a body dysmorphia, it's something you're seeing every day. I know what it's like. And I know what it can be like for someone. So if you can make a serious change and change it completely, take it away, take it out of your life, because it is so far from me right now than where it used to be. It was 100% in control of my life. It really was. And only when I would do something or work or keep busy, it wouldn't be in control. And now I am in control. And it feels great. And so this is working. This is working. And this RTT is the next step, because hearing everything about my mind, my brain, I'm a teacher. That's my background. I teach kids this. So I'm a great learner. I'm teaching you too. I'm teaching you what I'm learning. This stuff is amazing and healing. So I'm going to end the video with that and just to tell you how great it is when you live with love and kindness and generosity in what you do and what you think and what you say and how you act and how you treat other people. It just is amazing. It's amazing. And it's amazing what returns to you. So it is a great life. And I hope you experience life like this. So I hope you do some of these things. I hope you transform your life. And please, if you do, if anything, I help you. Anything I say helps you, please write in the comments. Please let me know, because I would just love to hear it. I would love to hear someone else's healing and going through a breakthrough in their own lives. That would be just so great to know that other people are healing from some of these techniques that are out there. And please share any of your own. If you know of something else that I am not doing yet, please let me know. But I will end this video, and aloha again, and bye. Whoops. I guess that wasn't meant to be there.